With Valentine's Day right around the corner, and with this being one of the driest new release weekends in recent memory, I thought, what better time to talk about some of my favorite romance movies of all time? Starting with When Harry Met Sally. This movie was directed by the late great Rob Reiner, and it tells the story of Harry and Sally as they weave in and out of one another's lives over the course of 12 years in New York City. And this movie opens with like an anti-meet cute, where these two characters are on a long drive from Chicago to New York together, and they really don't hit it off. They don't see eye to eye on much of anything. They specifically talk about relationships, and their perspectives are like totally mutually exclusive on the matter. Harry thinks that men and women cannot be platonic friends because romance and sex always corrupt the relationship. One or both of them always wants the friendship to be something more, so it's just not achievable. He's very jaded and pragmatic about these things, whereas Sally is much more idealistic, and she is much more optimistic about the odds of being friends with a man. Harry sees her as being naive and having unrealistic expectations, and she just sees him as kind of an insufferable curmudgeon. It really sells the no way will these people ever end up together vibe that a lot of rom-coms go for, but it feels very contrived often. Here, we actually get it. There are like irreconcilable differences between these two characters. And by the time they get to New York, they never want to see each other again and they go their separate ways. But as fate and movie logic would have it, in this huge city, they just keep running into each other. Sometimes up to 5 years will elapse in between their meetings, and this gives them the opportunity to really develop and for their views to morph over time. The brilliant screenplay written by Nora Ephron does a great job of tracking these characters over the course of time and making it viable that their views and their beliefs are evolving as they encounter different life situations. We feel that time has elapsed in between their scenes together, and the themes are just executed so well with the screenplay being structured in this way. It's not really a spoiler to say that these characters eventually do strike up a friendship, and this calls into question Harry's presumption that that's not possible between a man and a woman, but it turns out that it really is, because in that early scene they really negated the possibility of romance between the two of them. So there's not really that lingering tension where there's kind of a will they, won't they aspect, because they know they won't. We hear a lot of really awful takes on love and marriage from other characters in the movie who are trying to put on a face so that they can be more desirable and get what they want out of other people. And Harry and Sally's relationship becomes actually one of the purest in the entire movie because they're not being driven by selfishness. They're actually trying to give and contribute to one another's lives and be there for each other. They're not there for themselves, and it makes it really exciting as their relationship evolves and develops into something different later in the film. But on top of how well the themes are executed, there's just a laugh in every single scene. This movie is hilarious, and so much of that is due to these two lead performances. The role of Harry almost went a couple different directions. Tom Hanks was in talks for a little while, and he was very much the kind of person that people saw in this kind of role as the male love interest in a rom-com. But I cannot see anyone doing better than Billy Crystal in this role. He becomes this character. He adopts this guy's way of thinking and belief system so completely that it's hard for me to imagine him being any different in real life. The energy and the attitude that he brings to the film is totally consistent throughout. His screen presence is flawless. The way he dryly delivers these jokes is pitch perfect. It honestly makes me a little bit jealous how organic these jokes are in his hands. And he did so much more for the movie than just showing up to act. He was deeply involved in the writing process as well. There are a lot of moments that would not exist without his involvement. For example, the diner scene, which is one of the most iconic scenes in rom-com history, culminates in a background actor delivering one of the best lines in any movie ever. That actress is actually Estelle Reiner, Rob Reiner's mother, which is pretty hilarious to me. But anyways, Billy Crystal came up with that line. Without him, that line wouldn't be in the movie, and that's legitimately one of the greatest moments of the entire film. And Meg Ryan sells her role equally well. She is just bursting at the seams with personality. Sally could very easily be an unlikable character because she's extremely picky and high maintenance, but she's just not, and that speaks to how well portrayed she is by Meg Ryan, who just has so much sincerity, charisma, enthusiasm, and charm in every second she's on screen. She just perfectly executes this role. Carrie Fisher and Bruno Kirby are also absolutely great as friends of these two central characters. At one point, they all go on a double date together. It's one of the best scenes of the entire movie. It's smart, it's funny, it's just perfect. And Rob Reiner, man, He just directs the heck out of this movie. This is his 5th film in about 5 years. It was his opening salvo of films in the 80s, which was one of the best opening salvos any director has ever had. He was just on a roll. He made vastly different films during this period, but they all worked so well. And I think what's common throughout these films is that he has a gift for finding the emotional core of a story. He picks all the right aspects to bear the load of the audience's attention and engagement. He never asks you to laugh at something that's not funny, cry at something that's not sad, or get warm and fuzzy about something that's not sweet. His movies are just so authentic and earnest and genuine. He's so skillful at figuring out exactly what's engaging about the story that drew him to make it and what's going to draw audiences to watch it and continue watching it at this point for almost 4 decades. The way he helms the comedy is just perfect. Every single actor knows exactly what movie they're in, and that includes the background actors. I feel like these days, if we're fortunate enough to see a scene that has a lot of extras or background actors, it seems like they're told to be wallpaper, to go about their business acting as if the lead characters who are actually telling the core story don't exist. That is not the case here. Whether we're at a New York Giants game or a New Year's Eve party or a diner, the characters in the background are engaging with and participating in the core story. They're reacting to what the 2 stars are saying. They just seem very present. They're not just NPCs filling out the background. And that just helps the movie feel so much more textured. The variety of locations, the sense of place that you get in New York in the 80s, it all feels so authentic. I think of a scene that takes place in the New York Giants stadium where Billy Crystal and Bruno Kirby are having a heart-to-heart, and Crystal's telling him some really emotional developments that have happened in his life recently, but there's also a wave going around the audience. And so like every 30 seconds or so after Crystal says something particularly devastating, they'll go up and do the wave and then come back down and keep bemoaning their situations. It's just hilarious stuff that takes a lot to set up and execute at this level. And I'm just so glad that Reiner had what he needed to pull off these sequences this well. There's not even a little bit of drag in this film. It's paced perfectly. It's 95 minutes long, including credits. There's just not a dull moment from front to back. At the end of the day, guys, I love When Harry Met Sally. I think that a lot of movies from the 80s haven't aged particularly well. This one is getting better and better every single year. It's very much a product of its time. Split screens are employed several times to incredible effect. There's this weird storytelling device that the film opens with where a couple is sharing their love story, how they met, how long they've been married, and that well is returned to several times over the course of the movie where different couples are sharing their own stories. That could easily take me out of it, but instead it just enriches the story by riding the emotional wave that's being created by Harry and Sally's own story. There's just so many great decisions here that contribute to this film being timeless, and it all culminates in one of the sweetest and most heartfelt finales of all time, honestly. Something that people have been trying to mimic ever since and just haven't quite captured, and that can be said about this entire movie. What Reiner and Efron and their cast and crew accomplished here is foundational in the world of romantic comedies. If you look at the TV shows of the 90s and definitely rom-coms even on into the 2020s, this movie is the blueprint, the proof of concept for so many ideas that people have been trying to execute at this level since. It's frequently imitated. In my opinion, it's never really been matched. And for all of these reasons, When Harry Met Sally gets an A. I've now seen this movie before I got married, as a newlywed, and now almost 5 years into my marriage. And it just keeps on getting better. I think it's absolutely great. Over the next week, I'm going to be talking about a few rom-coms because it is Valentine's Day week. If you only get around to one, let it be this one. It truly is a timeless classic. If you've seen it, please do let me know what you thought of it. Drop some recommendations for rom-coms I can watch this year. If you enjoyed this video, please do like and subscribe, and I'll see you at the movies.